Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to do the Japanese braiding technique called Kumihimo. These are some examples of bracelets that have been made by that technique. You can see it's kind of an ornate braiding technique, but it's really simple and very fun. So here's how you do it. First, you're going to need a template that looks like this. This is where you're going to weave and the braid comes out through the middle. So you're going to start by getting a piece of cardboard, and we can use our palette, trace it, cut it out, and we're going to end up with a circle. We need to make the notches on the circle, so I'm going to use a Sharpie. One thing I already have learned that I didn't do, that didn't work well, was that I did this with pencil and then I couldn't see it very well, so I'm going to use Sharpie, and I'm going to do 4 marks north, south, east, and west. Okay, and then I'm going to divide each of those in half. And then I'm going to divide each of those in half. So I'm going to end up with 16 fairly equally distributed marks. Okay, it's okay if it's not perfect, but as close as you can get it to be equal is what you want. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to make a small cut. I don't want the cut to be too large, no more than like 1/2 inch. If you make them too large, your template starts to get a little floppy when you're weaving. So err on the side of not too long. I'm going to go around and cut them. The next thing I'm going to do is I need to make a center hole, which is where your braid will feed through. So I'm going to actually take my scissors and I'm going to put it on my desk and just gently, really gently, make a hole. Don't put your hands behind this, underneath this scissors. I don't want you to cut yourself. So I just use my scissors and I just kind of rock it a little bit. You actually want the hole to be a larger hole than you think, like about that size. I think a good gauge is like a pencil can fit through it. That's kind of the size you're looking for, okay? Next thing you're going to do is you need yarn, and you're going to need 8 strands of yarn. We're going to start with doing a 2-tone or 2-color bracelet. So you need 4 of one color and 4 of another. Each piece is about maybe 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet. You're going to go to the end, and I'm going to just make like a pretzel knot. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to wrap it right like that, and then I'm going to stick the ends through. Kind of looks like a pretzel there. Just a really simple knot. That is the end of my bracelet. I'm going to pull these pieces through. It doesn't need to be super long. I don't want it to be super long. That'll just waste your yarn. This is just going to be like one side of your bracelet. I'm going to take this and I'm going to push it through the hole and pull it so it's on the other side. And then I kind of pull, so I'm back in here. I'm going to take my yarn pieces and I'm going to sort of divide them. So I'm going to start with blue, and I'm going to put 2 of my blue at the top. And then the other 2 will go at the bottom. So again, like if we're thinking directions, north, south. And then the other color, you're probably guessing, will go east and west. I'm kind of just making sure that my yarns are organized, my yarn pieces, that they're not like really tangled, just because I think it's easier once I start weaving. So this guy's going to go here, and this guy's going to go here, and then my orange pieces will go to the side. So I'm going to do 2 on this side, and the other pieces are on this side. Okay. I'm just realizing that I think I cut 9 pieces instead of 8, so I'm just going to cut that out and that'll just come out the end, so that's fine. So when you're done, you want it to look something like this, right? So 2 going to the top, 2 going to the bottom, and 2 to each side. And then the really fun thing about this, I thought when I was doing it, is it's really sort of, it's the same step over and over again, so you can be really consistent with it. So I'm going to take my top piece, I'm going to start with blue. And I'm going to do the right side first. It doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed, you just need to start with one side. So I'm gonna go, this is gonna be on the right side, so I'm gonna pull this piece out, the blue piece, and I'm going to move it down below. So now I have 3 and 1. And then I'm gonna take the blue piece that was down here, and I'm going to move it up to the top. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate it, and now I'm going to do my orange, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move this guy down and this guy up, and then I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to move this guy down and this guy up, and I'm just going to keep going. And what eventually happens is that the pieces that you're weaving will feed through. I'll show you when I've started, to the bottom. So you can see, and this was maybe like 5 minutes of me weaving. It's already coming through, but eventually, obviously, it's going to come out, and then you can make a bracelet or a key, lanyard, or whatever you want out of it. So a couple of things I've learned in doing it, just like to look out for. So one is this situation. You want to pretty frequently just make sure you're kind of combing out these pieces. And again, just from like my own personal experience of doing it, I've already noticed that like I made these a little bit longer than I made these guys, my red and green, and these are maybe I feel like they're long. So these are more like 1.5 feet. This is maybe like 2 or 2.5 feet. I would probably stick to about 1.5 feet. I think it's a little bit better. So you're just going to keep repeating that series that I showed you, going down and moving on until it starts to come out. You can, every once in a while, just pull this through and it will start. Even with that, you can see how it's starting to weave there. You are done when all of the yarn is done, when it's all gone, and then you'll pull it out and you'll end up with a braid that looks like this that you can then turn into something. So it can be as long or as short as you want it. And you can, as you become more comfortable, introduce more colors. So the idea is that you have to repeat the same pattern. So let's say you can do up to 8 colors on this. If each one of these is a different color, you just have to remember which one you're doing. So we're going to start with 2 colors, and then when you become more comfortable, if you want to introduce more, that is great. But that is how you do that braiding technique, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.